Hello, it's Sherry from Tranquility Soul Spa, live in your feed. Hello. And I am live with my dear friend Louise, who is going to talk to us about grounding. And I'm so excited because it's really important to be grounded. If you are not feeling grounded, you are likely to be kind of suffering in a lot of different ways. And I'm going to let Louise talk a little more about this, but I really, really love the way that she breaks down how important grounding is. So I just would like to wish you or ask you all to join me in welcoming Louise. Hello, Louise.
Hi, Sherry. Thanks very much for inviting me into your group today. As you know, grounding is one of my absolute passions because, well, the saying that I have is you can't fly kites if you're standing in quicksand. And the thing that I do with people is are you still there?
I'm still there, yes.
I heard a lot of background noise. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just turning on my phone so I could see the comments if we get any. Sorry, guys. I'm just,
Yeah.
my technology. Okay.
Anyway, the thing that I do is I work with people who have suddenly realized that they've woken up spiritually. You know, they're going through a spiritual awakening, and they don't know what the hell to do with it. And they get all excited about the fact that stuff is happening, and all they want to do is just go and fly out in the ethers. And they forget, and my saying is, you can't fly kites if you're standing in quicksand. Grounding is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself on all levels, energetically, physically. It is just so important. And what is interesting too, as you know, I tend to have a very practical approach to things. So I kind of like the science behind all the energy stuff that I do. And there's a lot of research that's been done. There's a lot of information out there on grounding. And in fact, I've drawn up a resource sheet of all a whole bunch of YouTube videos that you can go and watch that actually where you've got scientists explaining the science behind grounding, which is awesome. There's
I popped the link just below on the screen just in case anybody wants it, and we'll put it in the comments below after as well. So just
perfect.
Yeah,
thank you.
You're welcome.
There's a medical doctor who calls herself the intuitive physician.
I've heard of her, yes.
Her name is Dr. Laura Conover, and she is, in fact, on my resource sheet, most of the YouTube videos are actually of her talking about different aspects of grounding. Because the bottom line is we are energetic beings. We are living on a planet that is an energetic ball.
Yes.
And the earth has a heartbeat, just like we have a heartbeat. And the resonant frequency of the earth is, I think it's 7.53 hertz. I'm kind of
low and low.
Yeah. And mellow. So one of the most important things that you can do for yourself is to actually walk outside barefoot and stand on the earth. Because, of course, all our shoes and footwear and everything now is plastic or rubber, and it's basically an insulator. I mean, rubber is an insulator. If you're standing in a puddle of water in rubber boots, chances are you won't get shocked if somebody attaches a charge to it, an electric charge. So what that is doing is it's stopping us from actually getting the energy up from the earth and connecting with the resonant frequency of the earth. Another reason that's so important is, so many people are into taking antioxidants because we have negative and positive ions in our body, and we tend to have these free radicals, etc. And it's so important for us to actually absorb the negative ions from the earth to get ourselves back into balance. So doing the actual physical grounding by walking outside and connecting with the earth in our bare feet is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
Totally get that doesn't work for some people. If you're housebound, if you live in a sort of on the 25th floor of a high rise and there's concrete all around you, it's a little bit more difficult than actually physically doing it.
Well, let's be honest here. We're both living in Canada where it's freaking cold like 8 months out of the year, and you don't want to go out with bare feet because either your feet will stick to the ground and you'll rip all your skin off, or you will get severe frostbite in about 3 seconds flat. So,
unless you're having a power surge, you're a woman having a power surge in the middle of winter. Then you just go outside and you just go into the snow.
And just melt everything around you for about 10 feet. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I have come to so appreciate summer from the point of view that, and I was brought up in South Africa. I was born and raised in South Africa, walked barefoot most of my life. And so, I really appreciate the freedom that you have when you don't have socks on and when you don't have shoes on. So, today is a little bit cooler, but I'm walking around my house barefoot and I'm standing here barefoot, and that's just the way my feet like to be. So, that physical connection is important. If you can't make the physical connection, I think we've covered. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about why grounding is so important before sorry.
That's okay. I would love to talk about maybe the symptoms after you've done the symptoms of what not grounding looks like, because I know for me that's a big one.
Okay, so the way that I know immediately that I'm not grounded is I start dropping things and I trip over things, and you are you unfocused, you lack of focus. When you're preparing a meal, you cut your finger, you walk into things, all the embarrassing things that people think that you've been doing a little bit of the tipple. That's a very good sign that you are not grounded. If you're unable to really focus or concentrate, and just one caveat I'd like to make, everything that I'm saying here today, a lot of it is just my opinion, and it's for everybody to make up their own minds about things. And also when we're talking about, for example, now we're talking about what it's, you may have physical things going on that may mean that you're not grounded, but use your common sense. For example, if you're feeling dizzy and lightheaded, if you're concerned, get it checked out by a medical practitioner.
Yes.
It may be that you're not grounded, but always use common sense. Always use common sense.
Of course. Yeah. Okay. I know for myself that is one that I need a notice from my body that I need to ground now, is when I'm starting, not necessarily dizzy, but kind of like floaty. I'm like, ooh, I feel like I'm floating through the world. Maybe I need to ground a little bit.
That's
come back down to earth.
Yeah. If again, you're feeling dizzy, spacey, lightheaded, you daydream a lot, that's usually a sign that you're not grounded. Another embarrassing thing can be, when you get in your vehicle and you go from point A to point B and you get to point B and you don't know how you got there because you haven't been concentrating and you haven't been grounded, you haven't been in your body and present. Another thing is you get in your car to go to the grocery store and you get lost. That's also a sign that you're not grounded.
Or forget where you're going partway through. Where was I supposed to be going again? I turned the wrong way. Shit.
Especially when you've got the old lady in the front yard watering her flowers and she sees you driving past 3 times. That's embarrassing. Yeah.
Oh, Sugar Shack. It looks like she's got some stuff going on here. Hang on 1 second. So my apologies, ladies. We are chatting here with you about, here she comes back. We're chatting with you about grounding and how important it is to ground. You're back. Hello.
Hi. Did I die or did you die?
I think it was you because I still have my connection.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And it looks like, yeah, I'm looking here and it still was just me connected. So,
Okay. Sorry about that. It's yeah, our internet has been dodgy the last couple of days. So let's,
awesome
let's just
fun.
let's just hope and pray that it lasts. What was I talking about?
We were talking about getting lost on the way to the grocery store.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And how much fun that is to drive past the little old lady at the corner 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah, who probably just rolls her eyes and thinks, "Oh, here we go again."
Another one of those middle-aged chicks, man alive. It happens earlier and earlier, I tell you.
Saying to her buddy, "Ethel, I'm so glad I'm not there anymore."
Too much fun.
Yeah. Another way to tell that you're not grounded is that you find that you become very sensitive to what's going on around you, and you find other people's moods really affect you. Now, this, a lot of people put that down to the label they put on that is being an empath.
Yes.
And as an empath, one of the most important things you can do for yourself is to ground and to own your energy field so that you know who is coming in and out of your energy field.
Exactly.
That is so important.
Truly.
Grounding, if you know anything about chakras, our root chakra, which is at the base of the spine, is our security, our safety, our fight and flight response. When our root chakra is compromised, very often we find that we are ungrounded, and we suddenly have unexplained lower back pain. And again, if you think there's an issue, go and see a doctor about it. Don't ignore stuff like that. You may, again, on the safety thing, you may suddenly have this urge to start hoarding stuff. You suddenly find that you can't throw stuff away because it's like your security blanket, having things around you.
Yeah.
Very often when you've had energy work, when you have energy work done or you meditate, people very often tend to leave their bodies when they do that. And if you're not properly grounded, after that work, you can actually feel quite nauseous when you get off the table or you get up off the floor or out of your chair or whatever.
Yeah, especially if you're with maybe someone who themselves isn't very grounded and they're doing energy work with you, that magnifies it a billion times. It's awful.
Yeah. So again, you're responsible for your own well-being. So if your practitioner doesn't actually ground you, ground yourself, and you can do that by getting off the table and stomping your feet, doing anything physical like that. That'll get you back into your body and connected. Very often, if you're not grounded constantly, and a lot of people spend a lot of time out of their bodies, you become drained, you become exhausted, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And one of the reasons for that is because when you're not grounded, you are not owning your energy field. You're not owning your container. You don't know what it is. And I mean, I live in a small town up in the northern part of Canada. We have wide open spaces. And so people tend to, they're like beach dwellers. They go blah with their energy field. And so they don't really know where the ends are, and they don't know who is coming out in and out of their energy fields. And, people can basically suck them dry. Some people who are looking for energy from others
Yeah.
will basically steal the energy. They're called energy vampires. So
Yes.
it's so important to own your container, to know where your energy field is, and to be grounded. So
Hmm.
yeah, those are some of the symptoms
Of not being grounded.
of not being grounded.
Fun.
Let's just talk a little bit more about why it's important to be grounded. We spoke about the physical thing and how it's important for our physical bodies to be grounded. But when we are grounded, our soul, our spirit feels safe to come into our bodies and stay there. It's when we're not grounded that we tend to leave our bodies. So
Hmm.
um, when you are not connected, and another thing too, when you're not grounded, and everybody that comes in and out of your life on a daily basis comes in and out of your energy field, and sometimes they will leave stuff in your energy field, and if you're not grounded, there's nowhere for that to go, because one of the main ways that I ground is I actually take a cord from the base of my spine, send it down to the center of the earth, and
Yeah, I do that
so
one too. It feels
so,
so
so
good, doesn't it?
yeah, so all the
Yeah.
crud in my energy field can go down the ground. It's like having a great big. You've got this big room, and you've got this drain in the middle of the room to let
Hmm.
all the stuff go down that you don't want.
Exactly. Feels amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, the irony of any kind of spiritual shift, any kind of spiritual awakening, people get all excited and they want to learn about all the cool stuff and floating out in the ethers, etc. And there are not many people out there that actually say, okay, the first thing you need to do is to learn to ground, because you need a safe place to come home to after you've
Yes.
been out playing.
Well, the funny thing for me is that it should be the first thing that we do is learn to be grounded,
Yeah.
especially when we're playing with energy stuff or anything like that. But it's usually the last thing that anybody actually talks about with you is, okay, now you need to ground. And they don't really explain to you how to ground or what it goes into it or what it should feel like. And
Yeah.
so most of us spend most of our time in this totally unbalanced, totally ungrounded, totally like messed up freaking space energetically. And it's sad and frustrating.
Well, and also it can be unhealthy, and it just you feel so much better when you are connected with the planet.
Exactly.
You feel, I don't know, speaking for myself, you feel safe and secure. Yeah, it's like getting home after a really rough day at work or something. You walk into your front door and you think, oh, this is my
Yeah.
space. I'm home. Um,
Exactly, exactly. I find as a former stressed out, anxious, overwhelmed, mess, that being grounded has really helped me to manage those feelings
yeah,
in myself.
yeah,
The anxiety, I feel a lot less anxious when I'm
yep,
grounded and much
yep,
more anxious when I forget to be grounded. And the
yep,
same with stressed out. I am not as stressed out about things when I feel just grounded and connected to the world. It's
yep.
like, nothing can really bother me. It's hard to be overwhelmed and stressed out and anxious when I'm feeling really connected to the universe.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, yeah. And the reason for that, and one of the easiest ways to make sure that you're grounded is to be present and to be mindful. And the thing is, if you are not present and mindful, um, if you are still hankering about what happened in the past, that's where depression comes from, because you are so, you're worrying about what has happened. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
Or if you're worrying about the future, that's where your anxiety comes from.
Yes.
So to be centered and present and grounded means that you're not worrying about the future or the past. Yeah.
That's
And
when you turn all Buddha-y.
Exactly. It's very easy to sit in the cheap seats and talk about this stuff. And I know that, when you are way down the rabbit hole, it's very hard to remember this kind of thing. But the thing is, that's when you reach out, and that's when you reach out to people like you and me for help.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're not meant to go through this life on our own.
No, we're really not. We are very tribal, actually, still, as human beings. And we've lost a lot of those connections in Western society, which makes me really sad, because these are the skills that in the tribe you learned this stuff. As an individual, we lost most of this, and we had to relearn how to be in touch with ourselves, be in touch with the universe in a meaningful way, not just in a way that was going to, touch one person and maybe not even ourselves, but to actually make life happen in a good way.
The interesting thing is, and if you think of some ancient cultures, the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. And you had the extended family. You had the grandparents basically bringing up the children, and the parents going out and doing the hunting and the gathering.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, that actually makes a lot of sense, because by the time you are old enough to be an elder or a grandparent, not necessarily in this culture. I know some very young grandparents, actually.
Well, but there were back then too, but let's be honest, average life expectancy for a woman was like 21. So if you made it to 35, you were happening, man.
But as an elder, theoretically you've got beyond the hormonal stuff. You get to a point in your life where you don't sweat the small stuff anymore. And you are way more grounded. You're way more tolerant. And to me, that is such a wonderful environment for a child to be a child, and for a child to grow up in. And we don't have that anymore. Anyway, we kind of going off at a tangent here.
Kind of are. Sometimes the tangents are fun, but this one I feel like we could go and we could talk about that forever. And that might be a whole other conversation we need to have, is, how our society's failing us. But so let's talk some more about grounding. What else can you tell us about grounding?
Okay, so we've spoken about what grounding is, and why it's so important to ground. So now you say, well, how do I ground?
Exactly.
And as I say, I use visualization because I can. Some people can't visualize. So, there are a whole bunch of tools that other people can use as well. But one of the best ways is through visualization. And you can do that through a meditation. You can use a guided meditation. If you have, 15 or 20 minutes to sit quietly and just really connect with yourself and ground. If you are not able to do it, you can do a drive-by grounding, which means that you just visualize your cord going.
Sorry.
I was going to say, are you still there? You could visualize your cord going down from the base of your spine right down to the center of the earth, anchoring in the center of the earth. You can visualize roots going down from your feet. What I've found, especially in the last 5 or 6 years, it's becoming more and more difficult to ground in the old ways, if you like. And I used to just be able to send my cord down and I was done. And then when we had, the earth is going through so many huge shifts. And sometimes when that happens, I find it very difficult to ground the way I usually do. So what I then do is I will plant a tree down the center.
Oh, she disappeared again. She plants a tree I'm pretty sure down the center of her energy line and kind of grounds it that way, which is a beautiful way. Here she comes back. One of the things that I absolutely love about grounding is how invigorated I feel after I've done it. It's amazing. So I was just saying that to everybody that I was pretty sure that you were, talking about putting the tree down the center of your energy line and grounding it into the earth that way.
Yeah. I find it stabilizes me when I do that, and then I can send my roots down and and just connect with the center of the earth. I've already mentioned being mindful, doing anything mindfully is very, very grounding. So, for example, you've got this glass of water. Instead of just swigging it like I've been doing for the last couple of minutes, you look at it, you sniff it, you put some in your mouth, you swish it around, you taste it, you feel it, you feel the temperature, you swallow it, you feel, is it cool going down your throat? Is it warm going down your throat? And just you eat that way, doing anything mindfully, going for a walk in nature and not just going point A to point B and, not remembering how you got there, but actually going out and focusing on the smells and the sounds and how it feels, the temperature, very, very grounding. Literally hugging trees or sitting down with your back up against the trunk of a tree, very, very grounding.
Yes.
And that's an interesting exercise to do, is to actually connect with a tree and just be still. And you can actually start to feel the rhythm of the tree.
Which is so cool, isn't it?
Yeah. That it is.
It really is. One thing that I want to just mention when you talk about these ways to find your grounding, a lot of these are very similar to things that I talk about with my clients when it comes to meditation, because meditation is just basically grounding. They're and a lot of people don't really recognize that meditation and grounding are very, very similar experiences. And for me, at least, when I'm meditating, I feel very grounded. The more I meditate, the more grounded I feel. And the less I meditate, the less grounded I feel. Would you agree with that?
Okay. I would say that with meditation, before you go into meditation, it's a good idea to actually set the intention that you are going to stay grounded, because a lot of people, when they meditate, they leave their bodies.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
I think it's important to actually set that intention. I think it's amazing that you find it a very grounding exercise. A lot of people actually meditate for the buzz, if you like, because
they pop out a little bit. Yeah,
exactly.
I bring myself more in. So I find it very much like a soothing hug kind of experience.
Yeah.
And I know that I also recommend for people who struggle with quiet meditation or guided meditations that they do things like go for a walk or do the dishes or eat or drink in a meditative kind of state where you're able to kind of, process it differently than when you're doing it without thinking about it.
Exactly. Doing it mindfully.
Mindfully, that's exactly the word I was looking for. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Another very, very important and easy tool that most of us have is your breath. And I say most of us because some people have issues with breathing and it's a little bit more difficult.
Yes.
But breathing is just focusing on your breath is one of the easiest ways to bring yourself back into the present and be mindful. And I mean, you don't have to breathe in and hold your breath until you fall over. But, what you can do is you can breathe in for the count of 3, hold your breath for the count of 3, breathe out for the count of 3. Breathe in, feel the air going in. What does it feel like? Where's it going in your body? Yes, logically we know it's going into the lungs, but energetically we can feel it's going other places.
Yes, yeah. Yes.
So breathing is again, it's you can do your drive-by groundings with your breath. If you are in the workplace and you are in a very tense meeting, leave, go to the washroom or go to a quiet place and just breathe, and that'll bring you back to the present.
But breathe mindfully. Don't just breathe because you'll hyperventilate, but breathe mindfully. Yeah. Nice and slow, steady breaths.
Yes.
Deep into your diaphragm too. Most of us breathe into our chests, which is not good. You should be breathing into your diaphragm like a little baby. Tummy rises and falls. That's the way we should be breathing.
Yep. It depends on what you're doing, because I know when we do Pilates, we're told to breathe into our back ribs. So
yes.
you are moving your intercostal muscles rather than
but you don't want to just breathe into your upper chest is basically what I'm saying. Like this is the last part you want to fill with air.
There are all sorts of ways of breathing. Find what works for you. Just something to focus on. And another thing that you can do if you are feeling ungrounded is just to find one thing that you can focus on. So, for example, you could pick up a pen and you look at it and you feel it, and I think, okay, this is smooth and it's got a little bit of rubber on it and it's black and it clicks. And so to really pick up one thing that you have to hand and really focus on it, and what does it feel like, what does it smell like, is it sharp, is it smooth,
details, is it
yes, and just really what color is it, really focus on that. And you can also sort of do something similar by distracting yourself. If you find you are just spinning out, distract yourself, and what you can do is count backwards from 100 down to 1 in increments, or they're not increments, I imagine they're decrements. I don't know what that word would be, but you count down in 5. So you would go 100, 95, 90.
I could never do that without singing, 99 bottles of beer on the wall. That would just be the I'd be like 95, 98, 96 bottles of beer on the wall. 96
well, that's it in itself. Yeah. Another thing you can do is just to pick a color and think, okay, green. And then just look around you and just actually consciously name everything that you see that is the color of green, which is another way to do it. You can do that as well. You can sit in a chair and you can feel with your whole body, feel the chair with your whole body. What does it feel like? How's it holding it? How does it feel on my legs? How does it feel on my arms? How does it feel on the back? Is it soft? Is it hard? What does the fabric feel like? Being aware of how your physical body is feeling. I've got a cheat sheet that actually gives, I think, 5 different techniques for grounding.
Awesome.
That you can use.
I can grab it right here because I'm putting the link on the screen.
Okay. So something that you can do on an ongoing basis that is very grounding and helps you to our bodies have muscle memory, and it just helps your body to kind of get into the mood, if you like. If you do yoga, or if you do Tai Chi, or if you do Qigong, all of those very focused, or in fact, any martial arts, quite honestly, where
Yes.
you are incredibly focused and slow moving, and you are working with your body's energy, and you are doing things in a controlled way. And I'm not talking about doing these things, thinking about, what you're going to cook for supper next Wednesday.
But actually
You need to
focusing on the hand.
yeah. Well, the thing is with any of these things, Tai Chi and Qigong and yoga, if you don't focus, you fall over. So,
True. That is very true.
yeah. So that is a good way to ground.
Mhm.
If you've been in an incredibly intense situation, where you felt your blood pressure going through the roof, and you just want to you need to go and get rid of that adrenaline that's been building up.
Mhm.
You need to do something physical. So you can go run up and down stairs, or you can get onto a treadmill, or go for a run outside, or go for a brisk walk outside, clean your house, dance, or if necessary, get out your punch bag and
Ooh.
get rid of that excess energy.
But it's important to do something, right? Like that's the
Very
important
much
thing.
so. And that is, that then moves into the field of releasing emotions safely, recognizing and allowing emotions to move through you in a
Mhm.
safe way. So,
Yeah.
if you're unable to release an emotion right now, acknowledge it and say, okay, I'll get back to you. And then as soon as it's safe to do so, you then do that. You go and have a good cry, or have a good scream, or get out your punch bag and whatever you need to do.
Yeah. Stomp around, throw a dish, just
Yeah.
depends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't throw
Um,
anything you'll miss though, because I did that once and I still cry. But yes, throw something that you don't care about. If it's just junk, if you're on the borderline hoarder thing because you're ungrounded, use a piece of that junk and like throw it in the garbage can.
unless it's something that you can actually sell.
Yes. Well, but even then, sometimes it just feels really good to smash it.
Yeah. Oh, go to a Greek restaurant where they allow you to do that, and
Yeah,
go throw plates.
exactly.
Yeah. Because
Or if you have
they
plates
have
you don't
special
like.
plates, because most plates these days actually don't break. So they actually have special plates made where you can, I think, the last time I was in a Greek restaurant that did that, you can actually pay to have a plate throwing contest. So, well,
Oh
not a
my
contest.
God, imagine, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine cleaning up that mess?
Oh, well, it's
Yeah.
not so bad. If they're specially made, then they probably just break into big chunks. I know
Yeah.
if you break Corel, though, because I've broken a couple of Corel things, that is little tiny shards. It's almost impossible to clean up. That's a mess.
I would think that takes some talent, because Corella is pretty hardy.
I've broken 2 bowls in my lifetime.
Wow.
Yeah. So actually, when my son was born, I got rid of all of my Corel and bought ceramic plates because I didn't want to deal with little tiny shards getting into his little tiny skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I have a talent for breaking things, or I used to. Not so much anymore. I find that the more I'm aware of this and the more grounded I am, the less likely I am to break things, the less clumsy I am, which is
Yes.
amazing. I
Yes.
was the most klutzy. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, if it was
Yeah.
possible to break it, I broke it.
Yeah.
Like
And
Corel.
that is such a good sign that you're not grounded if you break stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be, and it can be expensive too. If you're constantly breaking stuff or falling down or, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And detrimental to your health too.
Uh-huh. Between your pocketbook and your health, it kind of sucks.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something else that you can do, and get your hands into the dirt. So garden, or even take up pottery.
Mm-hmm.
Just something that helps you connect with the ground. Um, Eating fresh, natural, unprocessed foods can be very, very grounding. Trying to sort of eat in season. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, in winter you eat more root vegetables, and in summer you eat more green leafy stuff and that kind of stuff. Which is,
Mm-hmm.
that's what in Chinese medicine they talk about that, and it's not a bad habit, not a
Yeah,
bad thing to do, because I mean, nature knows what we need at a particular point in time. Um,
exactly. Exactly.
yeah,
Nature's amazing. She really is. She's
yeah.
got our back. We just have to listen to her a little more.
Well, exactly,
We've come
exactly.
out of balance with nature is part of our problem. So
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
getting back there. It's
yeah.
good.
And
It's
of
good.
course, indoor plants are amazing as well. Not only can you get your fingers in the dirt there, but they also help to clean your air, depending
Mm-hmm.
on the kind of plants that you have. Yeah, there are some plants that are very, very good to have in your house. Like aloe vera, and I can't think of anything else right now. But yeah, there are a lot of plants that are very good to have in your
Yes.
house.
I tend to have very brown thumbs. I can kill, I'm very unproud of this, but I can kill almost any plant almost immediately. I can grow Christmas cactuses, okay. And I have a prayer plant that I've had for, oh my God, 35 years. I've had that prayer plant and it's still kicking. It's shocking.
Wow.
But really, pretty much anything else, it might last 6 months. Although this last, I have a, I have bamboo right here, and he's lasted almost a year, and I haven't killed him yet. So maybe I'm getting better with plants.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I can grow African violets because they thrive on neglect.
Oh,
Um,
I kill African violets instantly, and I
yeah.
love them. They're so pretty.
I've had a Christmas cactus that it's the same size as it was when it was given to me 5 years ago. For the last 2 years ago, for the first time, it had one flower. And
Nice.
last year it had a whole lot of buds, and I got about two flowers out of it. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I've killed aloe vera plants.
Oh, I kill
Um,
aloe veras almost instantly. Christmas
I
cactuses, though, the second they start budding up, stop watering them.
Okay, that's probably what happened. So,
And they like to be
the flowers
cold.
on water. Yeah.
And they don't like to be cold. Or, sorry, they don't like to be warm. They like to be cold, believe it or not.
Okay.
So keep it in the coolest room in the house and don't water the little bastard after he starts to bud up, and you should get lots of blooms.
Okay. Okay. Well, my whole house is not exactly warm. So,
Yeah.
so is there anything else that you want to know about grounding? Moving, dancing. I used to do belly dancing, which I loved. It was not pretty,
Oh,
but I loved it.
I
That is
love
very
belly
grounding.
dancing. It
Because
is.
especially, when you're standing and you do a figure eight with your hips, your body loves doing a figure of eight. And
Exactly.
again,
Wow.
that is just so grounding. Stomping your feet, dancing is a great way to ground. Really a
Hmm.
great way. Pets, dogs. I'm not so sure about cats because I don't know cats, but dogs are incredibly grounding. Animals live in the present. They
Do.
some of them have memories about stuff that happens to them, but no consequences. Imagine living in a life where there are no consequences, because
I
you
know,
know
right?
it's
Yeah,
what happens now and has nothing to do with 5 minutes ago or 5 minutes in 5 minutes.
exactly. Oh, just imagine, right? You're just in the moment. That is the goal with humans
Yep,
too.
yep,
We are basically animals. We're spiritual beings stuck in an animal body. So let's embrace that animalness. That's what we're here
yep,
to forget is the spiritual shit. We're here to be part of our animal nature.
yep, yep.
So enjoy it.
So,
Cool.
is there anything else that I can share with you about grounding? Anybody asking any questions?
No, but Dale says hi. She said
Oh,
hello, beautiful ladies. So hello,
hi
Dale.
Dale.
And yeah, I feel like how can people find you? That's the important one. So we've obviously got the link for how they can grab a copy of, now what is this? This is the
Okay, so
meditation and a book of some, yeah, I'll
yeah,
let you.
they'll opt in for the meditation, and also there's a guide, just basically covering what we discussed today, which is why it's important, how to do it, how do you know that you're not grounded. I've also done a cheat sheet that gives 5 ways to basically do drive-by grounding.
Nice.
And I've also prepared a resource sheet, which is mostly for the YouTube videos of scientists talking about grounding and the importance of grounding. So
Excellent.
that's what that link will take you to. But
Mhm.
my website is louise-dawson.com, and
Perfect.
that's where people can find me. I was
Awesome.
specifically going to say, well, you head north for 3 days and turn left, and you'll find me.
Turn left at the North Pole, and that's where I
Yeah, pretty much.
am. So much fun. Well, thank you so much. And we'll pop all the links down below so everybody can find you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this knowledge with us. It's been an absolute treat, and I love talking about grounding. So,
Well, thank you, Sherry. And yeah, it's my passion, and it's we're all on a spiritual journey. We all are going through a spiritual evolution. And if you don't believe that, you're in for a big surprise, because
amen.
change is as inevitable as taxes and death. So, yeah, learning to ground will certainly help you support yourself as you go
Exactly.
on life's roller coaster.
Exactly.
So,
Well, thank you. Have yourself a fabulous day. And to all of my amazing people who watched, thank you for showing up for yourselves. I hope you've learned a few things about grounding. I know I have. And I hope that you guys take advantage of this amazing offer and grab your copy of all of the amazingness that Louise is offering to us. So thank you and have a fabulous day.
thank you
Bye.
so much.